Welcome to the Biz Gone Social podcast. We help entrepreneurs navigate how to get known, get customers, and get the edge over their competition. Here is your host, Lorraine Duncan.
So here we are on the Biz Gone Social podcast, and I'm so glad to be here. And my promise to you, as always, is I want to give you a little bit of verbal caffeine that's going to energize your business and, of course, your social media marketing and help you stay social. Because after all, don't you want to be the business that everyone's talking about? I know I do. And I am so stoked to have someone that I have been in contact with at least for about 7 or 8 years, maybe even longer. Ginny Hull Hartline, and welcome.
Hi, thanks, Lorraine. Thanks for having me.
And I want to ask you some questions. But first of all, tell me a little bit about your business and what you do for your clients.
Okay, I have a traditional graphic design business. We provide print materials and web materials for small to medium-sized businesses. And we also accompany that with some digital marketing services. We work with large corporations too, with outsourcing from their creative services if they can't do a lot in-house. And we're very effective as an art department for companies that don't have one.
And what would you say is your sweet spot, what you really love doing? Like you could do all day for free, but of course you wouldn't.
Oh, for free. I like creating. I like puzzles. I love doing crossword puzzles and things like that. So to me, design is like a puzzle, taking disparate pieces sometimes and making it work together. So I like creating and thinking about that strategy and what the final target audience is going to react to.
Now, there's tons of graphic design companies out there, people who do websites and digital marketing. What separates you, would you say, from other companies that are out there?
Well, we do have a specialized niche, I believe, having always put science and art together, being a double major in college of biology and art. I was always interested in marrying science and art, and I did. I considered medical illustration and botanical illustration early on, but stayed in the design end of things. So we have a specialty in healthcare, medical, and pharmaceutical work. We're very familiar with that terminology and a lot of the sciences behind it.
Wow, yeah, I mean, that's kind of cool because then you just kind of morphed into it and then you morphed into other things too. So it kind of all like worked together for the good. So we're going to switch gears a little bit here. And what I want to do is like, well, you own your own business. So what do you enjoy most about owning your own business?
What do I enjoy the most? I would say that you can control your time a little more, perhaps, than when you work for an employer. You can flex your time, although the work has to get done, so the buck stops here. So it's not all glamour and easy. But that's helpful. I don't necessarily have to ask permission to go on vacation, but I have to accommodate that in the workflow and the cash flow.
Absolutely. I always tell people that, we can go on vacation as much as we want, but we still have to deliver on the things that we're working on, and we still have to kind of keep that funnel going. So when we come back, we have some work when we come back.
Right. And we also collaborate a lot with other professionals, depending on the skill sets needed. So it's also helpful to be able to pick and choose who you want to work with.
Absolutely. I love that. And, so we always talk about, and we tend to talk about all the good stuff about owning our own businesses. But I always like to give, there's a lot of people on this call today that will listen to, will be wondering, well, what's the hard stuff? And so I think it would really do a disservice if we didn't talk about the hard stuff. What would you say was probably your biggest challenge so far in your business?
In my entire career?
Probably, yeah, because you've been doing this for a long time and you kept on moving forward, but I'm sure there were probably times that after this one particular event or one particular challenge, you said, you know what, maybe it's time, just to do something else. So is there something that, maybe biggest challenge that you had to overcome?
Probably many through 30 plus years of business, but one of the biggest ones that probably will remain always is the incredible advancement of a technology. Now, I may be biased because of the graphic arts industry that I'm in, but I think that some of our technology has progressed faster than almost any other industry. And that's always been hard to keep up with. So we started in the good old traditional days before desktop computers. So we lived through the desktop publishing revolution. We had to adopt different ways of doing things and new software. And then we lived through the boom of the internet, where all of a sudden everything was online. So one of the reasons I think we've succeeded through these years is we made a commitment to stay on the treadmill of technology.
Yeah, and I think that's really great. And in fact, one of my questions was going to be is like, what do you do to stay on top of the things, and obviously every time I'm talking to you, you're always taking some course, or you're always, you're always, we were just recently, probably before this call, we were talking about LinkedIn. Right. And, again, you're looking to just advance yourself and learn as much as you can that's going to benefit you. And eventually it will benefit your clients, because the bottom line is what you do is like, well, what social media stuff should I put on my website? What graphics, should my graphics be good? Can I just use, a bad photograph or whatever? So it's like you being able to stay on top of that really does help. And so if there was one piece of advice that you could give someone who's just starting out, what would that be? The one thing that will keep them going and help them succeed in their business?
I would say the love of learning, curiosity, the love of learning. Look into new things, see how it might apply to what you're trying to offer.
Absolutely. That's really good. I think that morphs for me every other day when it comes to social media. Now, I would be doing myself a disservice if I didn't talk a little bit about social media. You are on social media. And what would you say is your favorite social media platform?
Favorite social media platform? I can't say that I use them all, because I have to decide really like where are the eyeballs for my potential clients falling. And so I use my Facebook business page and my LinkedIn profile. And I do a little bit of posting on Twitter. I feel kind of bad that we haven't done too much on Instagram, because it might be a good place, but I'm not totally sure yet that that's where my potential clients are looking for what we do.
Yeah, I mean, and the jury's still out with Instagram in some cases, because a lot of times it's really the influencers that you connect with on Instagram. But the bottom line is all the social media platforms are really awesome to have eyeballs on you. You just never know you never know who's going to be viewing you on one of these platforms. And especially if they see some of your work. I mean, I love the fact, for instance, Instagram, I love the fact that basically I love looking at the pictures and the graphics that come through on Instagram. So it's really kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So I want to ask you just one more question, because one of the things about being in business for yourself is sometimes we have to make an important decision very quickly. And it's a matter of, saving your business or not, or if it's a matter of saving a client or not, or it's a matter of just, making a good decision for your business. Could you talk about a time where you had to make a very important decision very quickly?
Very quickly? Well, certainly been the big important decisions along the way. I'm not sure how quickly, some of the decisions have come, but some of them had serious ramifications, like whether I needed to resign a client or deal with a very difficult person. I think at the end of every day, you have to be able to go to sleep with yourself at night and feel like you did the right thing. And even if it's in the client's eyes, they don't agree with what you did. I think you have to feel in your heart that you did the right thing for them as well as for yourself.
Yeah. And interesting enough, that's always a topic. I've had this conversation with other business owners that have been on, my podcast, and it really is hard. We're all going to have it. And for those of you just starting out, you are going to have that one client, that difficult client. And probably I've only been in business, I don't know, maybe 15 years by now, not even maybe, but the bottom line is that I've had some really bad clients, but I've had some really good clients too. And and you're right. At the end of the day, you do have to go to sleep with yourself. But I always try, for me, I always try to make it right as much as I can. But sometimes you're not, no matter what you do, you're not going to make this person happy. So as long as you did the best you could do and the very best, then I really feel that you did the right thing. So
I agree. You can't be everything to everybody, and it's just business. And I try to remind myself, even though sometimes you can take it personally, you have to realize it's business. It's really not meant personally for you. In most cases, it's not that way at all. You just have to say, well, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose.
Yeah, I was on a call today, by the way, that talked about making sure that, a lot of, especially in the business that you're in and I'm in, it's really important to really have a good contract. And one of the things that's worked for me, and I don't know if you do something similar, but what's worked for me is when I bring on a client, I literally have an onboarding call where we get together, and this way I actually do a little teaching and education around what I'm going to do and what can they expect. I mean, you actually deliver a very, a graphic, for instance, or a website is a very, tangible thing. But for me, it's a little different. Mm-hmm. And so I really talk about what will be the ROI, what really will be happening with social media marketing, because it's really different than, of course, creating a website for someone. And as you know, just creating a website for someone doesn't mean that they're going to come. You have to bring people to that website. So anyways, it's a good thing to be aware of. So here's the deal. Last question. It's a hard one.
Uh-oh.
What would you say keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night? I think I'm cursed with the perfectionism gene. So if I feel that I didn't do something as well as possible, I lose sleep over it. I feel like I guess maybe that's what's helped also us succeed for so long is I feel like I'm a bulldog with my projects, and I don't let things lie until they're resolved. And that's good for the client, but sometimes not good for my sleep.
Absolutely. And it's funny. The other day I was having trouble trying to figure out something. did an ad. This is actually a funny story. I did an ad for someone, and it was out of my account because they had paid me, and then I did the ad from my account. And I could see that it was taking money. I could see that it was converting, but I wanted to shut it off, and I couldn't shut it off. And I literally had to walk away from it. I didn't even really care about the money anymore because I needed to figure out why I couldn't just go to this particular, icon on the dashboard and where it said ads and shut it off, but it wouldn't let me. This was an Instagram, by the way, ad. So it was it wasn't where it used to be. Long story short, I walked away from it. And then yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I went back on and I found it. And it was absolutely I actually literally had it on Instagram. So in Facebook, you can go right to where it says ads and it will have all the ads. But in Instagram, you actually have to go to where the ad connected to on a post. So you literally have to go to the post. Uh-huh. And that didn't used to be there. It used to be, there was like a little menu bar that you could do it from the menu bar, but it wasn't there anymore. It was the weirdest thing. And I just like, maybe I just hadn't, usually I do my ads for Facebook to Instagram. So maybe I just had done enough of them. But anyways, just a funny story about just that kept me up. I was like, because money was coming out and I went, and it wasn't bad because it was a great conversion rate and it was a great price per click. So it worked out fine. So, but if it was like, I'm glad it just wasn't going to like $1 to $2 per click, or I would have been just racking up the money there, Yeah. So if somebody, I mean, Ginny, I've seen some of your work, and I think you recently redid your website. So you want to just tell everybody out there if they need your help, or if somebody just resonated with you, how they could get a hold of you. And I also will put all these things in the podcast posts below too. So
okay, great. Yeah, I would love for anyone to visit our new semi-rebranded website. It's Hull, Hull, graphicdesign.com, and as Lorraine said, she'll put it in her post. And we love all kinds of feedback. It's sort of version 1.0. We'll make changes and upgrades as needed as we go. And what was the rest of that question? Oh, there's a contact form. You can contact us, and I'd be happy to speak with anybody that wants to talk to me about their business, what they're doing, what's working, what's not working. It's some free consultation. I don't mind. I like to learn about other people's businesses and how we might be able to help you. And if I can't help you, I'm well networked for many years. So I might be able to point you in the right direction for somebody who can help you.
That's great. And so your website is hullgraphicsdesign.com, correct?
Hull graphic, not plural. hullgraphicdesign.com. Yeah.
Perfect. And I just did recently look at your website, and it looks great. So enjoy yourself, everybody who's going to look at it. And like I said, I really highly recommend Ginny for her services. And thanks again for being my guest on this podcast. And bye, everyone.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yep. And I'll see everybody soon.
Thanks for listening to the Biz Gone Social podcast. Find us on Instagram at BizGoneSocial for extra tips. Check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, stay social.